The city never slept, and Ryan hated it for that. Neon lights flickered above the crowded streets, casting sharp colors on the rain-slicked pavement. The air smelled of burnt metal, fried food, and something sour he could not name. He wrapped his thin jacket tighter around himself and walked faster, trying to ignore the endless noise of cars, sirens, and shouting. Ryan was angry, more angry than he had been in years. He had lost almost everything. A few years ago, he had been a respected engineer, working on projects that could change the city. Now, he could barely pay for the small, crumbling apartment he called home. Every rejection letter, every closed door, every cold look from strangers made the anger inside him grow. He blamed the city, the government, even himself for the life that had slipped away. As he turned a corner into a narrower street, he kicked an empty can in frustration. The sound echoed, but no one noticed. He was alone in the world, and it felt like the universe was against him. He muttered under his breath about giving up, about walking away from everything. He had thought about leaving the city, leaving the planet even, but he did not have the courage. Then, something unusual caught his eye. In the shadow of a doorway, a small figure huddled on the ground. At first, he thought it was just another homeless person. He almost ignored it, ready to walk past, but the figure moved. It stepped forward slowly, and Ryan froze. The figure was small, childlike, but not human. Its skin was a pale green, soft and smooth, and its eyes shone a deep blue, almost glowing in the darkness. The little alien looked up at him with a mixture of fear and hope. "Please," the child said, voice trembling. "Adopt me. I will be the best daughter ever." Ryan blinked. He stared, mouth slightly open. The words did not make sense. Adopt? Daughter? He had not had a family in years. He had no experience with children. And this was not a human child. His mind raced, trying to make sense of the moment. What are you?" Ryan asked finally, his voice rough from disuse. "I am Neela," the child said, taking a small step closer. "Please, I don't have anywhere to go. I promise I will not cause trouble. I just want a home and a family." Ryan felt a strange tug in his chest. He did not want to feel anything for anyone, but the honesty in Neela's eyes made it impossible to look away. She did not seem dangerous. She did not demand anything except care and love. He shook his head, trying to dismiss the feeling. "I can't. I'm not in a position to. I don't even have enough for myself." Neela's small hands rose slightly, pleading. "I know you don't have much. I know I am strange. But I can help. I can do things. I can learn. I can be the family you lost. Please, just give me a chance." Ryan's anger, exhaustion, and frustration battled with a rising feeling he had not experienced in years. He remembered warmth. He remembered trust. He remembered hope. And he realized, painfully, that he had given up on all of it. "Why me?" he asked quietly, almost to himself. "Why not someone else?" "Because you looked at me," Neela said softly. "You didn't run away. You didn't shout. You didn't ignore me. I know you can be brave, even if you don't believe it yourself." Ryan swallowed hard. He wanted to say no. He wanted to walk away and leave this strange child to whoever else might find her. But there was something in her eyes that broke through his walls. Something that whispered he could still matter. I don't know if I can," he admitted, voice cracking. "I am not good at this. I don't know how to be anything." "You don't have to know," Neela said with a small smile. "I will teach you. We will learn together. I only want to be with you." Ryan looked at her, standing there in the dim light, soaked from the drizzle and trembling slightly. He realized that despite everything, despite the city, despite his failures, he could not leave her. Something inside him had been waiting for a chance to care again. "All right," he said finally. "You can come with me. But only for now. I can't promise anything else." Neela's eyes lit up. "Thank you," she said, her voice full of excitement and relief. "I won't let you down. I promise." Ryan felt a lump in his throat. He had not felt hope in a long time. He did not yet understand the adventure he had agreed to, the dangers, or the strange gifts this child possessed. But for the first time in years, he felt a flicker of something that had been missing, something that made the cold city feel a little warmer. As he led Neela through the wet streets toward his small apartment, he kept looking at her out of the corner of his eye. The city still felt cruel, but for the first time, he was not entirely alone. And maybe, just maybe, he could begin again. Ryan's small apartment smelled of dust, old food, and a faint metallic tang. The walls were cracked, and the floorboards creaked under each step. He unlocked the door and led Neela inside, keeping one hand near his pocket where he kept a small knife for protection. He still did not fully trust the situation, but something about the little alien's eyes made him cautious, not cruel. Neela looked around with wide, curious eyes. She stepped carefully over the uneven floorboards, her small hands brushing against the walls as if she could feel the apartment's history. "It is not much," she said softly, "but it will be safe here." Ryan grunted. "Safe is relative," he muttered. He moved toward the kitchenette to boil some water. "Sit over there," he said, pointing to a worn chair. Neela obeyed, sitting politely, her tiny frame almost disappearing into the seat. "I can do things to help," Neela said, tilting her head. "I can clean, cook, even fix small machines." "Please, I want to help you." Ryan stared at her. Her voice had a strange mix of innocence and confidence. "Fix machines? What machines?" "I can repair broken things," she said, her eyes shining. "Even the things humans think are impossible. But I need a home first. I need you." Ryan felt a pang in his chest. He had lived alone for years. He had grown used to silence, to emptiness, to the constant fight against disappointment. He had built walls around himself, and yet this child, this alien, was knocking at the door without fear, asking to be part of his life. "You don't know what you are asking," he said harshly, though his voice wavered. I am not good with people. Especially not kids." Neela smiled faintly. "I am not like other kids," she said. "I can learn quickly. I will respect you. I will never bother you unless you ask me to." Ryan hesitated. He wanted to refuse, to send her back to the streets. The city was dangerous for a human child, let alone an alien one. People like her could attract attention, trouble, even violence. Yet, when he looked at her small, trembling hands and bright eyes, he felt something unfamiliar, a sense of responsibility he had not felt in years. "I don't know why you chose me," he muttered, sitting down heavily on the sofa. I am not the kind of person who can take care of someone." "Because I saw you," Neela said simply. "You looked at me, and you did not run away. You did not shout. You did not hurt me. I believe you can be kind, even if you do not believe it yourself." Ryan's throat tightened. He wanted to argue, to say no, to leave this child alone. He wanted to protect his heart from caring for someone again. But the honesty in Neela's voice, the warmth in her eyes, broke through his anger. He remembered someone he used to care for, long ago, and the guilt of losing that connection gnawed at him. "All right," he said finally, his voice low. "You can stay. But you listen to me, and you follow the rules. Understood?" Neela's face lit up. "Yes. I promise, I will obey everything you ask." Ryan let out a shaky breath. He did not know what he had just agreed to. The dangers, the strange nature of this child, the questions from society, all of it was unknown. Yet, in that moment, he felt something he had not felt for a long time, hope. For the next hour, Ryan and Neela began a slow routine. Ryan boiled water for tea, and Neela fetched small towels to help him clean. She spoke little, observing his actions, her blue eyes studying every detail. When Ryan finally sat down with a cup, she handed him a small piece of bread she had found in the cupboard. "You have to eat," she said softly. "You cannot be strong if you are hungry." Ryan stared at her, amazed. You care about me." "I do," Neela said simply. "I may be small, and I may be strange, but I can love. I can be a family. Please let me try." Ryan could not answer immediately. He took the bread, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. For so long, he had carried nothing except anger and loneliness. Now, someone depended on him, trusted him, and wanted him to care. The thought was terrifying, and yet it sparked something inside him he thought had died long ago. "All right," he said finally, his voice quiet but firm. "You can stay for tonight. Tomorrow, we will see what we do next." Neela nodded eagerly. "Thank you. I promise, I will be the best daughter ever. You will see." Ryan did not respond. He just watched her, sitting on the chair with a mixture of hope and fear in her eyes. He did not know what challenges lay ahead, what dangers might find them, or how to protect this small alien child. But for the first time in a long time, he felt a spark of something he had thought he lost forever, the chance to care, to protect, and to begin again. As night fell over the city, the neon lights reflected in the rain outside the window. Ryan sat silently, while Neela rested on the floor beside him, exhausted but content. In that tiny apartment, in the middle of the cruel city, two lives broken and lost in different ways had found each other. And something told Ryan that this encounter would change both of them forever. The next morning, sunlight struggled to enter Ryan's small apartment through grimy windows. The city outside buzzed with life, indifferent to the small dramas unfolding in the cramped space above. Ryan sat at the worn kitchen table, staring at the chipped mug of tea in his hands. Neela moved around quietly, tidying the room and humming softly to herself. Ryan had never been good with children. He had no patience, no experience, and certainly no idea how to raise someone, human or otherwise. Yet, as he watched Neela work, he felt a warmth in his chest he had long thought lost. He had been angry at the world for taking everything from him, but now he realized there was still a chance to protect and care for someone who needed him. "You don't have to do all this," Ryan said, his voice gruff but gentle. Neela turned to him with a small smile. "I want to help. I want to show you that I can be part of your life. I can make it better, not worse." Ryan shook his head. "Life is already complicated enough. Taking care of someone will only make it harder." "Not if we do it together," Neela said simply. "I can learn. You can teach me. We can be a team." Ryan looked at her, her green skin soft in the morning light, her blue eyes filled with trust. He swallowed hard. She seemed fragile, yet there was a strength in her spirit that he could not ignore. For a long moment, he said nothing. Finally, he sighed. "All right. You can stay here for now. But you follow my rules, understood?" Neela nodded eagerly. "Yes. I promise I will follow them." Ryan watched her move around the apartment, arranging things with careful hands. He noticed how observant she was, how quickly she learned and adapted. She seemed different from any child he had known, smarter, more aware, almost otherworldly. Later, as Ryan tried to catch up on some old work on his small laptop, Neela wandered over to a broken lamp lying on the floor. She examined it, her fingers tracing the wires and switches. This can be fixed, she said, almost to herself. Ryan glanced at her. Do you even know how to fix it? I think so, she said with a small smile. She picked up the lamp, and to Ryan's amazement, the broken parts slowly floated together. The wires connected themselves, and the lamp flickered to life. Ryan's mouth fell open. How did you do that? Neela shrugged. I told you I can learn. I can help. I just need a home and someone to believe in me. Ryan rubbed his eyes. He had seen many strange things in his life, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. Yet, he also felt a strange sense of relief. If this alien could help fix things, perhaps she could also help him fix his own broken life. For the next few hours, they worked together around the apartment. Neela cleaned, fixed small broken items, and even managed to cook a simple meal. Ryan could not help but smile at her determination and care. She was small, but her presence filled the apartment in a way he had not felt in years. You are really something, Ryan admitted reluctantly. Neela beamed. And you are braver than you think. You took me in when no one else would. That makes you special. Ryan looked away, feeling a lump in his throat. He had spent so long blaming the world for his failures that he had forgotten he could still do something good. He could protect someone. He could care. He could be the person he thought he had lost forever. As evening approached, the city lights began to glow outside the window, reflecting in puddles on the streets below. Ryan sat on the sofa, exhausted but strangely at peace. Neela curled up on the floor near him, her small body relaxed and trusting. You know, Ryan said quietly, this is only the beginning. You stay here tonight, but tomorrow, we will have to figure out what comes next. Neela looked up at him, her eyes bright. I am ready for whatever comes next. I will be with you, always. Ryan nodded, feeling a sense of determination he had not felt in years. He did not know what challenges they would face. The city was dangerous, and Neela's presence might attract attention. But he realized that life was worth living if he had someone to protect, someone to care for, and someone who believed in him. For the first time in a long time, Ryan felt hope. He had taken in a strange alien child, and in doing so, he had begun to rebuild the broken parts of his own life. Neela had not only found a home, she had given him a reason to keep moving forward. As the night grew darker outside, Ryan and Neela sat quietly together. Neither spoke, but both felt the connection forming between them. A fragile trust, a spark of hope, and the beginning of something new. In that tiny apartment above the noisy city, two lost souls had found each other, and the future, uncertain and dangerous though it might be, felt a little brighter. The next morning, Ryan woke to find Neela already moving around the apartment. She was tidying the small kitchen with surprising efficiency, humming a soft tune that made the cramped space feel warmer. He rubbed his eyes, still amazed at how much energy the little alien had. You move too fast, Ryan said, stretching his arms. Slow down a little. You will tire yourself out. Neela looked up with a bright smile. I am fine. I can do many things, and I want to help you. Ryan shook his head, sitting down with his cup of tea. You already help too much. I don't even know what to do with you sometimes. I can show you, Neela said softly. I can do more than cleaning and fixing things. Ryan raised an eyebrow. More? What could that be? Neela's blue eyes glimmered as she walked toward a small, withered plant sitting on the windowsill. She knelt and placed her hands gently around it. Ryan watched in silence as the plant, dry and fragile, began to straighten and grow. Its leaves turned green again, and tiny buds appeared along the stem. Ryan's jaw dropped. How did you do that? Neela smiled. I can help living things. I can heal plants, sometimes even small animals. I cannot do everything, But I can make things better. Ryan felt a mixture of awe and concern. This is incredible. But you have to be careful. If someone sees you do this, they will come after you. I know, Neela said softly. That is why I trust you. You will protect me. Ryan leaned back, staring at the small miracle before him. He had seen strange things in his life, but nothing like this. He realized that Neela was more than just a child in need of a home. She was powerful, intelligent, and kind, and yet completely innocent in the way she used her abilities. As the day passed, Ryan noticed more of Neela's subtle powers. She could sense his mood without him saying a word. When he felt anger rising, she would place a small hand on his arm, and he would feel a calmness wash over him. When he was sad, she would bring him a small flower or a simple meal, anticipating what he needed before he even spoke. I don't understand how you do this, Ryan said, sitting on the sofa as Neela floated a small object across the room to fix a broken lamp. You are not like anyone I have ever met. I am not human, Neela said simply. But I am like you in some ways. I can love, I can care, and I can be your family if you let me. Ryan felt a lump in his throat. He had lived alone for so long, surrounded by anger and disappointment, that he had forgotten what it meant to care for someone and to be cared for. Neela had come into his life like a small spark, slowly lighting up the dark corners of his heart. As evening approached, Ryan decided to test her abilities in small ways. He had an old, broken radio in the corner of the apartment. Can you try this? He asked, placing it on the table. Neela nodded eagerly. She reached out with both hands, and the radio's broken pieces floated together gently. The dial turned, and static filled the room before a soft voice came from the speaker. Ryan blinked, astonished. You fixed it? Neela beamed. I told you I can help. Ryan shook his head, laughing softly. I do not know what I would do without you. You make this place feel alive again. Neela sat on the floor, tilting her head. That is because you let me. You gave me a home, and I want to make it better for you. Ryan's heart swelled. He realized that Neela's powers were not just about repairing objects or healing plants. They were about connection, trust, and hope. She was teaching him to feel again, to care again, and to believe that even in a harsh world, good things could exist. As night fell, the city lights outside reflected in the small puddles on the street below. Ryan and Neela sat together near the window, watching the world move without them. Neela's small hands rested on her knees, her eyes thoughtful. You know, Ryan said quietly, I never thought I would find someone to care for again. Life felt empty, and I was too angry to try. But you did try, Neela said softly. You let me in. That is why we are here, together. You are brave, Ryan, even if you do not believe it yet. Ryan looked at her, feeling a mix of awe, love, and protectiveness. He did not know what dangers awaited them, what questions the world would ask, or how to keep Neela safe. But he knew one thing, he would do everything in his power to protect her. For the first time in years, Ryan felt hope not just for himself, but for the future they could build together. Neela had come into his life unexpectedly, bringing her strange powers, her determination, and her love. She had changed everything. And Ryan realized that the hardest and most important challenge would not be surviving in the city, but learning to trust again, to care again, and to embrace the unexpected gift of family. As they sat together, the quiet hum of the city around them, Ryan felt a small, steady spark of courage. Tomorrow, he would face whatever came next, not alone, but with Neela by his side. The city streets outside Ryan's apartment had grown colder over the past few days. Shadows seemed longer, and the usual hum of activity felt sharper, almost menacing. Ryan had begun to notice small things, strangers lingering near his building, curious glances from people who seemed to be watching. He felt a tension in the air he could not ignore. Neela noticed it too. One afternoon, as Ryan fixed an old device in the corner of the apartment, she placed her small hand on his arm. "Something is coming," she said softly. Her blue eyes, usually full of light, had a serious depth that made Ryan's stomach tighten. "What do you mean?" Ryan asked, looking around the room. "I can sense it," Neela said. "They are looking for me. Some humans, some others, they will not be kind. We have to be careful." Ryan's mind raced. He had promised to protect her, but he had no idea what kind of dangers were approaching. Neela's abilities were extraordinary, but the world was cruel, and not everyone would accept her presence. The thought of losing her was unbearable. "We cannot stay here," Ryan said firmly. "We need to move, find a safer place, at least for now." Neela nodded. "I trust you. We can find a place together." By nightfall, Ryan and Neela had packed a few essentials: food, water, blankets, and some of Ryan's old tools. Neela carried a small bag with a careful grip, her eyes scanning every corner as they left the apartment. Ryan kept one hand near his pocket, ready to defend her if needed. The streets were quieter at night, but Ryan could feel eyes following them. He led Neela through narrow alleys and side streets, using paths he had once known as a young man. Neela stayed close, her small hand occasionally brushing against his sleeve for reassurance. As they paused in a hidden courtyard to rest, Neela touched a withered plant growing between the stones. The plant lifted slightly, glowing with a faint green light before returning to normal. Ryan stared at her, amazed and worried. "You cannot use your powers so openly. If they are watching, they will know." "I know," Neela said softly. "I will be careful. But I want to help us survive." Ryan nodded, realizing that her abilities were both a blessing and a danger. They could keep them safe, but they could also attract attention from those who wished to harm them. He felt a new sense of responsibility, heavier than anything he had felt before. Protecting Neela was no longer optional, it was his purpose. They continued through the city, moving as quietly as possible. Ryan's mind was sharp, scanning for anyone suspicious. He noticed a van parked near a dark street, its windows blackened, and two figures leaning against it, watching the alleyways. He tugged Neela behind a stack of crates. "Stay low," he whispered. "Do not make a sound." Neela obeyed instantly, crouching behind him. Ryan's heart pounded in his chest as he watched the figures move closer, their intentions clear. He had faced danger before, but never like this, never with someone so fragile and important depending on him. "Can you hide us?" Ryan asked, his voice tense. Neela nodded, closing her eyes briefly. The air around them seemed to shimmer slightly, and Ryan felt a subtle warmth as if the world around them was bending to her will. The two figures passed by, oblivious to the small alcove where Ryan and Neela crouched. After they were gone, Ryan exhaled slowly, relief flooding through him. "That was too close," he said. "We need to keep moving." Neela smiled faintly. "I am safe with you. We will find a better place." Ryan looked at her, her small form brave and determined despite the danger. He realized that protecting her would test every skill, every ounce of courage he had. The city was dangerous, but Neela's trust in him gave him a strength he had not felt in years. As they reached an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the district, Ryan guided Neela inside. The building was dusty and empty, but it offered shelter for the night. They secured the doors and windows as best they could and sat together on the cold floor. "You are stronger than you know," Ryan said quietly. "Not just because of your abilities, but because of your courage. You face danger without fear." Neela looked up at him with bright eyes. "I learned from you. You are brave too. You protect me, and that makes me feel safe." Ryan felt a lump in his throat. He had faced many hardships alone, but nothing compared to the responsibility of keeping someone alive who trusted him completely. He realized that his anger and loneliness had faded slightly, replaced by a new sense of purpose. Outside, the city continued its restless hum, unaware of the small figures hiding within the warehouse. Ryan wrapped a blanket around Neela, watching her curl up safely. He felt a quiet determination settle within him. He would face whatever dangers came next, no matter how difficult, to protect this strange, small alien who had found her way into his life. For the first time in years, Ryan understood that courage was not just about facing the world alone. It was about protecting those who could not protect themselves, about fighting for hope, and about trusting that even in darkness, light could be found. And as Neela slept quietly beside him, he vowed silently that he would never let anyone take her from him. The night was darker than usual, the city streets empty except for the distant hum of traffic. Ryan and Neela had found a temporary shelter in an abandoned building, but the quiet did not last long. Shadows moved outside, and Ryan could feel the tension in the air. He knew that the people searching for Neela were closing in. Neela sat close to him, her small hands resting on his arm. "Do you think they will find us?" she asked quietly. Ryan shook his head, though his stomach tightened. "I hope not. But if they do, I will protect you." Her blue eyes widened. "Even if it is dangerous." "Especially if it is dangerous," Ryan said firmly. "No one will hurt you while I am here." Suddenly, the sound of breaking glass echoed through the building. Ryan grabbed Neela and pulled her behind a stack of crates. From the shadows, figures emerged, men and women dressed in dark uniforms, their eyes scanning the room with purpose. "Stay quiet," Ryan whispered. Neela nodded, her small body trembling slightly, but her courage was evident. Ryan could feel her trust in him, and it gave him strength. He knew that he had to act fast to protect her. The intruders moved closer, unaware of the hidden corner where Ryan and Neela crouched. Ryan's mind raced. He had no weapons except his knife, and these people were clearly trained and organized. But he could not let fear control him. Neela's life depended on him. As one of the intruders reached for a door to enter their hiding spot, Ryan stepped out from behind the crates, holding his knife in front of him. "Stop," he shouted, his voice echoing through the empty space. The figures paused, surprised by his sudden appearance. Ryan's heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay calm. "You will not take her," he said. "She is under my protection." One of the intruders laughed, a harsh sound that sent shivers down Ryan's spine. "You are just a man," the figure said. "You cannot stop us." Ryan clenched his fists, his anger and determination rising. "Try me," he said. Before the intruders could react, Neela stepped forward. Her small hands glowed faintly, and a soft green light surrounded her. Objects in the room began to move, floating gently as if guided by an unseen force. The intruders stumbled back, shielding their eyes from the sudden display. Ryan felt a mix of awe and worry. He had seen Neela's powers before, but this was different. She was using them to protect them both. "Be careful," he shouted. "Do not hurt yourself." Neela nodded, concentrating. The light around her grew stronger, forming a protective barrier between them and the intruders. The attackers tried to advance, but they were pushed back by an invisible force. Ryan realized that Neela was risking herself to give him a chance to act. Summoning his courage, Ryan lunged forward, striking one of the intruders with his knife. The others hesitated, surprised by his bravery. Ryan's heart raced, but he felt a clarity he had never known before. He was not just defending himself, he was defending someone he loved, someone who had become his family. Neela continued to focus, her powers keeping the intruders at bay. Ryan moved closer to her, guiding her to the exit while she maintained the barrier. Together, they navigated through the building, avoiding the remaining intruders. Finally, They reached a side door and slipped into the alley outside. Ryan held Neela close, his arms protective. She looked up at him, her eyes full of trust and gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. Ryan smiled, though his body ached and his heart was still pounding. "No, thank you," he said. "You showed me what it means to be brave, to care, and to fight for someone else. You have changed my life." They ran through the quiet streets until they found a hidden corner where they could rest. Ryan wrapped a blanket around Neela, holding her close. He realized that the danger was far from over, but their bond had grown stronger. They had faced fear together, and in doing so, they had learned the true meaning of sacrifice and courage. "I was scared," Neela admitted softly, leaning against him. "I was too," Ryan said, stroking her hair gently. "But we survived. And we will survive again, together. You are my family, and I will never let anyone harm you." Neela smiled, her small hand resting on his chest. "I am glad I found you, Ryan. I know we can face anything if we are together." Ryan nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. For the first time in years, he understood that courage was not about fighting alone or avoiding danger. It was about protecting those who could not protect themselves, about standing together in the face of fear, and about trusting in love and family. As they rested in the darkened alley, Ryan knew that whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them side by side. Neela had not only survived the danger, they had both grown stronger because of it. And in that quiet moment, Ryan felt a hope he had thought was lost forever. The city continued its restless hum, but Ryan and Neela had found a calm within it. They were ready for the future, ready to face whatever threats came next, and ready to build a life together as family. The first light of dawn crept into the abandoned warehouse, casting soft shadows across the dusty floor. Ryan sat beside Neela, watching her sleep. Her small form was peaceful, her blue eyes closed, and her tiny hands resting gently on her chest. He felt a quiet warmth inside him, a sense of purpose that had grown stronger each day since she appeared in his life. The city outside was waking, but Ryan did not move immediately. He thought about the dangers they had faced, the strangers who had searched for Neela, the countless moments when he feared for her safety. He realized that protecting her had changed him. He was no longer just a man angry at the world. He was a guardian, a father figure, and someone capable of love and hope. Neela stirred and opened her eyes. "Good morning," she said softly, her small smile lighting up the dusty room. "Morning," Ryan replied, his voice gentle. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes," Neela said. "I feel safe with you." Ryan felt a lump in his throat. "And I feel safe with you too," he admitted. "You remind me that there is still good in the world, even when everything seems dark." They spent the morning tidying the warehouse as best they could. Neela floated small objects into place, fixing broken chairs and tables with careful precision. Ryan watched her, amazed at how much she could do and how much her presence had brightened the empty space. After a simple meal, Ryan turned to Neela. "We need to think about what comes next," he said. "We cannot stay here forever. We need a home where we can live safely and be together." Neela's eyes sparkled with excitement. "A real home?" "Yes," Ryan said firmly. "A home where we belong. I promise we will find it. I promise you will be safe." They left the warehouse and walked through the city, keeping to quiet streets and hidden alleys. Ryan felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. He knew that challenges still lay ahead, but he also knew that he would face them with Neela by his side. By afternoon, they reached a small, abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. It was old and run down, but it had walls, a roof, and windows. Ryan examined it carefully. "It will take work," he said. "But we can make this our home, at least for now." Neela clapped her small hands. "I can help. We can make it beautiful and safe." I will help with everything. Over the next few days, Ryan and Neela worked together. They cleaned, repaired, and arranged the building. Neela used her abilities to help heal small plants outside the windows, making the space feel alive. Ryan fixed broken doors and windows, and together they built a small kitchen and sleeping area. During these moments, Ryan felt a deep bond growing between them. He realized that Neela had not only given him purpose but had also reminded him of what family meant. She trusted him completely, and in return, he learned to trust her. One evening, as they sat together near a small fire they had built for warmth, Neela rested her head on Ryan's shoulder. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything. For taking me in, for protecting me, for believing in me." Ryan hugged her gently. "No, thank you," he said. "You have changed my life, Neela. I thought I was lost, but you showed me that hope and family are still possible." They sat in silence for a moment, watching the flames dance. Outside, the city continued its restless movement, but inside their small home, there was peace. For the first time in years, Ryan felt that he belonged somewhere, and Neela felt the warmth of a family she had longed for. Days turned into weeks, and life settled into a quiet routine. Ryan worked small jobs during the day, while Neela helped him and continued learning about human life. They laughed together, shared stories, and cared for each other. Every day, their bond grew stronger, and their small home became a place of love and safety. One morning, Ryan stood by the window, watching the sunlight spill across the city. Neela joined him, holding a small bouquet of flowers she had nurtured outside. She handed them to him with a shy smile. "For you," she said. "Because you are my family." Ryan took the flowers, feeling tears prick his eyes. "And you are mine," he said softly. "You are my daughter, my hope, and my reason to keep moving forward." They stood together, looking out at the city. The streets were still crowded, still loud, still harsh in many ways. But for Ryan and Neela, the world felt brighter. They had found each other, and that was enough. In that small home on the edge of the city, two lives once broken had come together. Ryan was no longer a man alone and angry. He was a father, a protector, and a man who had discovered that love and hope could grow even in the most unexpected places. Neela looked up at him with a trusting smile, and Ryan smiled back. He knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. And in that moment, he understood the true meaning of family, courage, and the strength of humanity. They were home, finally.